Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I got asked a question in the Q&As earlier today, which I briefly answered, but then I realized this question actually deserves its own video, and it's something I've really had to think about a little more since I made that video, and something I should go into a little more in-depth discussion of. And that topic is, now that I've had a few years to look at it, talk to different people about the results, analyze the program, everything else, now that thousands of people have run the Ice Cream Fitness, my Novice 5x5, what changes would I make to the program? Would I keep it the same? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't keep it completely the same. So let me put on my +5 out of weaponsmithing. Work on skilling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. All right, a couple of things that I have to note after doing it over the years. Something I said earlier, I threw in some of the extra arm work to keep the program marketable. Now, I wouldn't pull out the bicep work because when you try to sell a hypertrophy program to young men that doesn't include curls, and when I mean sell, I mean convince them to run it, because I'm not actually selling the program, it's free. They're just not going to run it. No matter how much you prove that compound exercises for a novice can add just as much muscle as curls can, you're never going to convince them. You have to do it. But the tricep exercises, not so much. So the things that I would say is that the other thing I would have to note is that maybe there's a little bit too much arm-specific work of certain types in there. There's too much workload in general sometimes, and the fact that I wrote the program to be so aggressive means that about 1 in 4 people simply cannot recover from the program at any point in the program. And so there are things that need to be taken out. And you know what? I think people would make just as good a gains running the program, but doing a little bit less. I think my workload in there is too much for a lot of people to recover from. And the people who are decently genetically gifted or have right bone structure, they make amazing gains on this program. But some people flounder on it. And I think it's because the workload is just too much. And I think those people that do really well in the program would do just as well if they handled a little less workload. They would do just as good on it. Just because the tonnage, the progression, the frequency, the variety of lifts, anyone's going to progress on it as long as they can recover. So the changes I would make, first of all, there are 2 exercises in there that need to go out completely, and it's mainly because they're redundant, and I think they contribute to inflammation and potential overuse injuries and even potential overreaching faster than you want. You don't want novice lifters to overreach. It's hard to get a novice lifter to overreach, but a program this aggressive can cause it to happen. So number 1, what would I take out? The tricep extensions. We don't need them. We don't need them at all. And yeah, I'm saying, okay, you need to do them in the rip toe style in order to get the long head, but I've got 5x5 overhead press every other workout. That hits the long head. I've got chin-ups in there. That hits the long head of the tricep. So every workout, people are either doing 5 sets of 5 on the bench press. Now, 3 workouts a week, they're either doing 5x5 on the bench press or they're doing 5x5 on the overhead press and doing a back-off set with 3 sets of 8 on the close grip on their overhead press days. That basically means direct, heavy pressing in the 5 to 8 rep range. That's anywhere from 5 to 8 sets per workout, 3 times a week. That means that everyone every week is getting a minimum of 18 sets of heavy presses. I think, honestly, me having thrown the tricep extensions in was overkill. And I did it just to get guys to run it because of the arm work, but in that case, I think the tricep extensions are actually hurting people's progress. I think guys would have bigger arms and bigger chests if we cut the tricep work out completely. The isolation movements are just not necessary when you're doing 18 sets of presses every single week. In the 5 to 8 rep range, your triceps can't grow any bigger from that. And then on top of it, every other workout I have chin-ups. Chin-ups work the long head of the tricep. We've got EMG studies showing that. There is so much tricep work in there that it's just going to cause elbow inflammation to throw isolation work in at this point. I mean, you got 18 sets minimum per week of tricep work, not counting the chin-ups. We don't need any more. Next thing, the shrugs, because people have so many questions about shrugs. Do I need straps? Do I need to do them slow and controlled and contract, or should I do power shrugs? What do? They hit my dick. Should I do them behind me? You know, you don't need the shrugs. I threw that in for extra workload, for extra core development and everything, standing, but then I realized every workout, every single workout, people are doing 5 sets of squats. There's standing overhead work every other workout. There's rows every workout. All right, if you do 5 sets of squats and 5 sets of rows every single time you're at the gym, and then every other workout you're rotating between deadlifts and standing presses, We don't need another standing exercise to strengthen your core and strengthen your whole body. The shrugs are redundant. We don't need it. It's just not necessary, and it's causing some people to potentially overtrain, and it's just not necessary. I don't think they need to be in the program, and if anything, I think they're going to lead to potential injuries. Now that I look back, if someone's going to get hurt on this program, it's going to be from doing the shrugs. With all the other work, people could take them out. I think their lower backs and everything are just going to recover better without them. And as far as the trap work goes, you're deadlifting every other workout. Every 4 days you're deadlifting. 5 sets of rows every workout. Then there's chin-ups in there. There's overhead pressing every other workout. Your traps are getting beat up. Your traps are getting all the work they possibly need. I don't think they're going to grow any faster with the shrugs. I just don't see it happening. So when I look at it from that perspective, I've got to look at it and just go, you know what? We don't really need the shrugs in here. It's not helping anybody. It's just extra work that people don't need to be doing. It's just extra work that's going to slow down their recovery and affect their ability to progress maximally, except for people who are just really gifted. The shrugs could be completely removed. And the program will work just fine without them. It'll work just fine without them. They don't need to be there. You know, they don't need to be there. The other thing, a lot of people make amazing gains for 6 months on this program, then they stall. It's intended to be a 1-year program. Now, I originally wrote the cutting version for people who aren't bulking. You're not trying to gain weight. So if you're recompositioning at the same weight or trying to lose weight, I have a cutting version. Instead of doing 5x5, you do 3x5. So you cut 2 sets out. Cut out about a third of the work. Cut out a third of the work on the accessories. Instead of doing 3 sets of 8, you do 2 sets of 8. You know what? That works amazingly well for recovery because people don't have to have the extra calories to recover. The workload's been brought down. The progressive overload's still there. Everything's good. But you know what? A lot of people on the program start stalling because the workload accumulates. And what ends up happening is that people are really weak when they start. You can throw the 5x5 and 3x8 at them. People get strong really, really fast on my program. Guess what happens 6 months in? They start getting so strong with the amount of volume and workload I'm throwing at people. A lot of people, like half of people, start to have recovery issues. They're struggling. They start stalling, having to reset over and over and over. And you know, most guys, by the time they're doing 5 sets of 5 with mid 200s on the squats, they're hitting 350 to 365 or so for 5 reps on the deadlifts. They start getting close to that 190-pound 5-rep bench press mark. Guess what happens? People start struggling with the workload. I would like to see when people surpass some of the original numbers, because I tell people on the program, I want to see people on their bench press doing 2 plates a side, on the squats 3 plates a side, and on the deadlift 4 plates a side, and I want to see them do it for 5 reps. That's the goal of the program. But I think when people get to 1 plate below that, when people pass to where they're doing 5 sets of 5 with a plate on each side, a full plate, 135 pounds or 60 kilos, once you pass that for your work sets of 5x5, you get there and you've gone past it a little bit. You get to 2 plates a side on the squat, so 225 for pounds, 100 kilos for those who are using Standard International, or sorry, the metric system. And then 4 plates a side on the deadlift. When you start getting to that point, it might be time to step back and run the cutting version of the program instead. Cut the total sets down. I think people are going to do better on the program if they do it that way. You're going to still progress. Yes, it's going to seem like, well, I've cut the volume back, but you really haven't. When you look at the total tonnage you're moving versus where you were a few months ago, even cutting a third of the sets out, you're still moving more tonnage in every workout. And as long as you're progressing and the progressive overload is there, you're using more tonnage than you were using 3 or 4 months ago. The progressive overload is still there. You're still going to keep growing, but you're going to have a lower chance of overuse injuries. You're going to have a lower chance of burning out. You're going to have a lower chance of chronic overreaching and overtraining. I think most people who follow the program, once they get at that point, which is going to happen probably 6, 7, 8 months in, somewhere in that range, it's going to depend a lot on the person. I think when they reach that threshold, it might be time to cut the total number of sets back a little bit and focus just on progression, adding more weight to the bar and doing 3 sets and 2 sets instead of 5 and 3. I think most people at that point are going to do better on it. So was the program perfect? No. Have thousands of people told me they got amazing progress on the program? They gain strength, they gain size faster than they ever have. Yeah, but I think these are some of the changes that I think the majority of people are going to benefit from. I think they're going to be better off if they make these changes and these adaptations to the original program. And I always tell people, don't change my program, run my program the way it's written. And that's only because a lot of people aren't going to know how to change it for the better. And worst case, people add stuff to it. This program doesn't need anything added. If anything, I have people doing a little too much already. It's better to take some of the stuff out. And I think people are going to do better on it that way, and that's what I would recommend. So in hindsight, now that I've had years to look at the program, look at all the people who run it, go to forums and look at people's progress. I mean, so many people out there have done before and after pictures, progress pictures. I see their workout logs. I've looked at stuff, and I've noticed where people stall. I notice where they flounder. I notice what muscles and joints start to get sore. Now that I've been looking at this for years, and I'm getting a real good idea of, hey, the program was great when I put it out, but it wasn't perfect. There are some changes that I need to make to it, and that's what these changes would be. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.